How's it going, everyone? This is Childhood DVD Fan here. You guys may have seen something similar to this a while ago on my channel, but we are back once again. And I thought for this video, we should have a Christmas theme because it is December and Christmas is right around the corner. And once again, I have Jeremy here from Random Kid Entertainment. And we hope to bring you guys a very entertaining video. We will tell you guys our stories and a few other things about the Merry Christmas Drake and Josh movie. So, Jeremy, what's your story?
Okay, so when me and him were talking about another collab video like this, we were originally supposed to do a video where we were going to talk about, wasn't it Zoe 101 first? Yes, it was. It was Zoe 101 first, but because of the whole reboot thing and that the video that he made, which you should go check out, we decided to do a Drake and Josh related video instead. But since we knew it was around December, Christmas, and of course the movie Merry Christmas, Drake and Josh, we thought it'd be the perfect opportunity just to go ahead and make this video. So, for my story of this movie, I'll never ever forget this. This was December 5th, 2008, the day that Merry Christmas, Drake and Josh premiered on television. It was my dad's birthday, and he wanted to go out and do something nice. So, my aunt, who was staying the night at her friend's house at the time, um, decided that I can go with her because her friend had a little brother around the same age as me. So this was just a random night, like nothing really seemed to go on. And I've watched Drake and Josh in the past. I remember like a few vivid memories, of course, the theme song. Like I've always remembered the theme song. But when it came to Merry Christmas, Drake and Josh is kind of when I started getting more in depth with the show. It was late. It was definitely late at night. We went to bed pretty early, so my friend was already passed out and sleeping. So I was just sitting there watching Nickelodeon, and I watched the scene where I think where it started off was where Drake and Josh gave Officer Gilbert like the monkey, and that's like the part I'll always remember the most because it stuck with me since, and then ever since like throughout the whole entire movie. Um, yeah, again, like I saw the day it premiered, unaware that it premiered, and it was a nice little experience because it's the one memory of Drake and Josh I remember ever since I was a little kid. So nice little story right there.
Yeah, the crazy thing to me is if you guys don't know, I'm a few years older than Jeremy is. He was 5 when this movie came out, and you saw it premiere day. I don't even think I saw it when it on premiere when it premiered on television, but I definitely saw it not too long afterwards. I just remember, and this as far as my story, and mine's not as elaborate as Jeremy's or as cool as that. Um, but I just remember, I think watching a rerun on Nickelodeon because that was the only channel I had. Because back then it was only basic TV. And I had it. I watched it on like a little gray like Trinitron like TV, maybe like a one of those like small TV things years ago that the kiddies wouldn't have any clue what they are. Um, and I just remembered, certain scenes. Like I remembered when, oh gosh, when they were doing the parade, and I think Officer Gilbert had wanted to, get Drake and Josh in trouble. So he went to Crazy Steve and told Crazy Steve to kind of spill the beans. And I'll tell you what, that car he showed up in, Jerry Trainer, I still get jealous seeing it. Woo,
I do, man, especially because I'm a fan of the movies.
the wing, cool car. I forget what it's called.
A DeLorean.
Yeah, there you go.
Back to the Future car, technically speaking.
Yeah, sweet. I just remembered all the kids' reactions when Crazy Steve kind of let the cat out of the bag, and that Drake and Josh were there as part of their, I think, probation or something like that. They had to like make this Christmas the best ever for this family. I just remember watching that, and that stuck with me. The part that you mentioned when they gave him the monkey, that definitely stuck with me. And then, of course, Kimbo Slice. God rest his soul. It was hilarious when him and Josh were in the jail, and they were, all the other prisoners were freaking out because they thought Kimbo was beating Josh, but they were like hitting like the sink or like the bed or something like that, and they were laughing hysterically. They make it sound like Josh was getting beat up and stuff like that. And then Drake comes and uh, tries to break Josh out of jail. It's hilarious. But I wanted to mention some quick facts here for the audience out there that may not be aware of this. And I'll try to make this, there's so many facts, I'll try to, get through them as quick as possible. But Drake and Josh, the movie, Dan Schneider is the reason this production came to be. They had already finished filming season 4 in July of 2006. Now, the final episode that premiered on television was Dance Contest, but that had already been filmed way before in production. The real final episode was Really Big Shrimp. And if you guys would have seen that episode, the ending, you would have seen Drake and Josh fighting over a shrimp. And the reason they did that for the final scene is because when they were on the Amanda show, they had a scene where they were fighting over shrimp. No dialogue, no script, no anything. And because of that, and because of the production people, what was that?
Sorry about that. One thing I should probably make a disclaimer about is that if you hear noises upstairs or on my phone, I do apologize because the way that my phone's sitting is actually on my dryer because I don't have a tripod just yet. So just a quick disclaimer for you guys if you're wondering about those sounds.
Okay, that's cool. No problem. Where was I at? Okay, so they were fighting over the shrimp. And one of the people linked to Dan Schneider, this is your next show, which is how Drake and Josh got their own show because, that would have been a huge missed opportunity if they didn't, entertain that idea. But thankfully they did. So they finished production July 2006. They were done. And then Dan Schneider had the idea, hey, we never did a Christmas theme. We never did anything Christmas related for Drake and Josh. What if we all got back together and did a little, movie or whatever? So, as far as when you mentioned earlier the Zoe 101 reboot, this wasn't a reboot necessarily, but this was done the right way. They brought basically every main character back, obviously, and then you get your Erics, you get your Craigs, you get Mindy, you get Helen, Jerry Trainer, Crazy Steve, all these side characters. And they filmed in July of 2008 and August of 2008. They filmed for this movie at a California mall. I don't know which one, I'll be completely honest. And they had obviously new cast for new storylines and everything. But this is one of the most important facts that I want people out there to know. I've told Jeremy this before, but if you watch this movie and if you watch the series before, you would realize that specifically in their bedroom, it looks very, very different from when they were on, the 4 seasons of Drake and Josh. It changed a little bit. Originally the door was like this way, and then it kind of moved to this way in season 2, and whatever. But if you watch this movie, you could see the drastic difference. It's like they completely made it different. Well, the reason why is because after a show finishes, Nickelodeon keeps the sets for 1 whole year, unless somehow they were to do a reproduction again or something like that. But once it's like, okay, this is done, it's over with, they scrap those sets. They get rid of them, and I don't know what they do with the wood or the pieces, but they basically just get rid of the sets. So they had to rebuild sets just for this movie. And another thing, the Drake and Josh house exterior shots, which that house is gone. What the fuck? Anyways, they actually filmed certain scenes at that house, and that was the only time they ever actually filmed at that house because they used that house for exterior shots for the show, but it was on a sound stage for, all the in-house stuff. They weren't actually at that house until this Christmas movie. The living room scenes, that those were completely from the actual house. When they were fighting with the snow, with the cheese, from the wood chipper Sally. Um, that was actually from that house, which is gone. But anyways, so those are a few facts about this movie. I really give Nickelodeon a lot of credit because they did this the right way, and they didn't necessarily have to do a reboot or whatever, but they gave us something very special. And in my opinion, they don't ever have to do anything ever again because they gave us everything they could. It's been so long. It'd be so weird if they did it now. But just want to give a quick little facts on those.
And those are even some facts that I never even knew about, like with the living room shot. I knew it was different, but I thought it was because like the way that they built a set for it. Because like, for example, when Megan is playing with her oboe, you can see like the windows more to the left side compared to the right side from where the show was at. And that's something that always caught my eye even when I rewatched this the other day for its what is it? For its wait, how old is this movie now?
12 years, man.
Oh man, yeah, 12th anniversary. Yesterday was the 12th anniversary of this movie.
I know, tell me about it.
Can't believe that, man. Time flies by, especially because Drake and Josh is considered like a classic show over a decade, though. That's insane.
Yep.
But anyways,
and that was just for the one-time movie. Like we watched like a lot of the regular series. That was 14 plus years ago that they stopped production.
Right.
So,
wow. No, definitely insane.
But yeah, the living room shots were real. The bedroom shots weren't because that was like a 5-bedroom house, and they didn't have any rooms that obviously match what they made on the sound stages or anything. But yeah, the living room shots were 100% real. As a matter of fact, I saw a video not that long ago from the New York Times of some background behind the scenes footage from the Christmas movie, and they show like the cameras and the lighting and production. It's from the actual house that the owners decided, hey, let's take it to the ground and ruin everyone's childhood.
So disappointing, man. It's so sad because I think a childhood dream for most fans like me and childhood DVD fan here, we probably would have thought that it would be like a dream come true if we saw the Drake and Josh house in person. Not go inside, but at least see the outside of the house because everyone knows what the house looks like from the outside.
Yeah. Because I heard like the owners like they hated that like their house was chosen at random, whatever, to be featured on the show, and they like couldn't stand all the people that would always drive by or whatever. And something that kind of makes me a little sad is that David Dobrik, David Dobrik, right? The YouTuber.
Yes, everyone should know David Dobrik.
Yeah. He brought Josh to the house, because obviously David was a huge fan of Drake and Josh. And Josh had that final chance to, be at the house, before it got torn down, whatever. Drake, on the other hand, when he heard it was getting torn down, he went out there, and it's on YouTube. The house was already taken down to the ground when he got there. He was a little too late, and the only thing left was the mailbox. So sucks for Drake.
It's such a heartbreaking situation because what really kind of like makes this more upsetting is that Josh didn't really seem like he cared that much, and like you can tell like how sad he was because the only thing he literally just patted on the mailbox and said that the Drake and Josh house was gone. Yeah. Like obviously they filmed from the outside, and of course the Merry Christmas Drake and Josh movie they filmed on the inside. Like I couldn't imagine being in their shoes at all. Like it's basically like a childhood home.
Because like it's so funny to me. Like I'll just say this quickly, they are so opposite in real life compared to their characters. Drake is definitely more of the humble, like he remembers the times, like he's fond of the times, like like he won't get mad if you ask him. Josh, on the other hand, wishes he could probably forget. because when Josh was leaving the house and they were like saying, "Oh, it's a good thing it's torn down." Josh's like, "Probably a good thing, F it, whatever." And then Drake, seemed like it hurt him that it was gone. So and meeting Drake in person, I could tell just how humble and cool he was.
Like expectations versus reality. Like that's the thing that some people were saying about how like with Drake Bell and the situation, like Drake's completely different in person than he is with the show, so that really shouldn't mean you should hate on the show. I mean, I can understand why.
Yeah.
I can definitely understand why because he was a part of it, but that doesn't mean you should like hate the show in its entirety.
Yeah.
Because of the one character.
Yeah.
It's understandable. But we're not going to get into that. We're talking about positive vibes. We're going to keep it straight.
I had my moment, but I had time to think about it. So
right.
I actually own, for the audience out there, I own the movie in 3 different ways. I'll show them quickly. This was the original copy I got from Amazon. I hate it. I don't know what it is. It drives me crazy. It has the scanner code on it, and it's a purple hue disc background.
Which
I don't know what it is, but these drive me crazy. I can't stand them. Obviously, it seems like Amazon's so weird, man, with their productions. Like, it seems like the first productions of DVDs are always like the clear DVDs and whatever, and then later on, like as the years go on or whatever, they switch to this like really cheap, ripped versions of DVDs. Like, so, this is the one that if you were to buy it on Amazon, you would get at your doorstep for $13. It's not bad, not bad quality. It's just the looks. It looks discolored. Like, I don't like it. It's just me personally. I'm probably the only one. I have this bootleg version right here, which actually is probably my favorite version. I don't remember if it's widescreen or not, but I know it's a Nick recording, and it's actually very good quality. And then the final one, which I got, which I'm thankful I got, is this one here, which this one has dun 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 dun, no scanner code and the clear background, so it looks like all the rest of the DVDs out there. But there are a couple things that I definitely am not a fan of, and I'll just mention them very quickly. First of all, there was no chapter selection with the DVD. It is just play movie. There was no chapter selection. That's an Amazon thing, not necessarily that, And then this false advertisement here on the back of a Jingle Bells music video. There is no special feature. But anyways, I digress. So those are my home media ownings, which I do plan on trying to sell the really bad version, in my opinion, just the look of it. And I definitely want to sell this if I can get a few bucks, because I have no use for this one at all.
You see, with my copy, I've always had the original Amazon version. I don't remember what my dad got it from. I think he said he got it from eBay for like 1 year on Easter. But oddly enough, it came sealed. It's never been opened. And as you can tell by obviously the bottom, there's no scanner codes. And if I take out the disc, it's obviously clear. So this is an authentic version. But the only difference between mine and his is that mine doesn't have that special features option. So I'm assuming it's probably like one of the later original releases.
Yeah.
And also I do not have the re-release version, although I may get it just because they're kind of different from as far as like the disc.
Yeah.
They're
kind of different, but I don't know. It's just this one really bugs me. I don't know. Like some of the Amanda Show DVDs that I own, they don't look so discolored or whatever. But this one, you have to see it in person. This one just looks so bad.
I can definitely tell that like the artwork is probably like more darkened, and either that or it's like a little bit brighter. I can't tell, but you can definitely tell that it looks more bootleg-ish in my opinion.
Yeah. It's more light color, like very like whatever. I mean, then again, I have a really bad Best of Season 1 and 2 original DVD, although it's a purple hue, whatever. They look like they're ghost white, kind of like me right now with my webcam. But anyways, getting back to the movie, this is a question that I wanted to ask you. With the two movies that they did, Go Hollywood and the Christmas movie, which one do you think was the better production overall?
Honestly, this is gonna sound very controversial because many people are gonna defend either or. Personally, I'm going with Go Hollywood, and that's only because it feels like, even though it feels a completely different production because there wasn't no arrow transitions,
Yep.
it was more like a Zoe 101 a movie
No,
just with
no laugh tracks.
no laugh tracks, no no proper like transition music. It was all like Zoe 101 back house mic, like vocal music. But personally, I just thought that the story of Go Hollywood was a little bit better, a little bit more realistic. You can kind of say it was very dark, which I give them credit for because a lot of the other episodes are either like comic relief or not very unrealistic. Even though I prefer the show over the movies, I felt like Go Hollywood was just, it takes place in um, Los Angeles, California, and it's a very beautiful looking city. So you can't really go wrong with like a lot of the scenes, like when they're driving off with the car, with the criminals, or when they're like being kidnapped, or when they're flying in the plane and Drake's making out with girls as Josh is sitting next to like this two fat couple that is arguing nonstop and about
Love
like
it.
chicken and like marks and stuff. Like I don't know. That's just my opinion. I think that Go Hollywood is personally better.
I would have to agree. I mean, I love this Christmas movie, and it's definitely something I watch every time it comes around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but one of my favorite scenes in that movie, I asked Jeremy recently, and he put it on his channel, was the swapped Geos scene. I don't know what it is about that scene, but it always scared the hell out of me as a kid. All this music, dun, dun, and whatever, and that guy was pretty big. That bad guy is a big guy. It always scared me, whatever. But it's actually one of my favorites now. But as far as this movie, it really it still has a lot of good things in it. And the thing about Drake and Josh is that it's one of those shows that has aged like pretty much like a fine wine. I mean, there's some shows that are really corny when you look back at them, like how the hell did I like this as a kid, or whatever. But whenever you go back and watch this show, I don't think there's many times where you're like, why am I watching this, or like I like this as a kid. Like it. I give them a lot of credit. They really just they make it still so funny. Like it's still so funny to look back at all those moments years and years later. I mean, this show 100 years from now possibly could be still like talked about. It's just cool to me.
Exactly. Like my cousins, they watch it. My little brother, he's 8 years old. He wasn't even born when Drake and Josh was out. And the
That's
other day, I
crazy.
just came upstairs and he was watching it on Hulu. And he was watching, I think he was watching the Treehouse episode and the I Love Sushi episode, two classic episodes, obviously.
Yeah.
But with Merry Christmas, Drake and Josh, although it's a completely different movie compared to like, for say, like the TV show, I feel like it's like a really good film for nostalgia and for the family. Like, it's got some funny moments, it's got some heartwarming moments. Although again, it's not very realistic. Like, if you really think about it, if you got arrested, you wouldn't be busted out for giving a Christmas promise because in this generation, no one's gonna give a shit. Excuse my language, but that's
Yeah.
just true. But I feel like if they were just in prison the whole movie, this movie probably wouldn't have gotten a lot of love for a lot of the, not only for us being like, well, me almost being a grown adult, but for you being a grown adult.
Yeah.
It's a nice coming to age movie where like you can watch it with the family. It's one of the more better Nickelodeon production movies out there.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing, not just with the Christmas movie, but that whole universe is like completely different from ours. You know,
Exactly.
like everything they do in it, like everything that that happens in there. Like, they got like, Toon Juice and all these websites, whatever. It's a completely different universe. And there's a part of me that really likes that because like there's sometimes where I'm so sick of like what is happening in our world today, and then you go back and it's like all these different websites that don't exist, by the way. It's just fake, but still you like to think of that alternative universe with these alternative characters and that they live in a different world than we do or whatever. It's just it's fun to go back. It definitely is.
Drake and Josh is definitely one of the more relatable shows out there. Like, even though you got Ned's Declassified, like, with giving some actually pretty useful tips on middle school, which I followed some of those and they sometimes work. But with Drake and Josh, like, about dating girls, trying to like be cool, and obviously like losing friendships and your brotherly love with Josh is done. Like, I feel like Drake and Josh is one of those shows where even grown-ups can sit down and just enjoy. It's like the perfect show to even just watch with like the family, like a perfect family sitcom.
Because there's definitely those shows out there that are pretty corny to like adults or whatever. I love Ned's Declassified, like you said, but I don't think many adults find it, funny or like it.
Right.
The only reason we like it is because that's the show when we were, growing up or whatever. I would even say possibly iCarly. I don't really know if that's a family show or hell, even Zoe 101. I'm not too sure, but Drake and Josh is definitely, a family type show. And it's just cool that they got all demographics, all different, people to just sit down and enjoy it. I mean, this is, probably the best, funniest live production, at live action show they've ever done. I mean, Keenan and Kel were great, as a duo, but Drake and Josh were, the top cherry.
The height of popularity of the early 2000s.
Yeah. There are times I wish I could just go back, when this was on TV or whatever, at now, like as a 20-year-old man that I am now, and go back and like maybe see how it transitions or whatever, It's
Right.
just,
Just life was so much easier back in the day.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. Is there anything else you want to mention? Because we're just about at the half an hour mark.
It's like perfect timing because my phone's about to die, but I do got one question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate Merry Christmas, Drake and Josh?
Uh, I'd give it an 8.4. I think that it's, a very good production. There's a lot of nostalgia. The fact that they did something like this when they didn't have to do something like this. They had already finished the show and they came back. Um, it's not the best, production out there. The best production of Drake and Josh. Oof, I don't know. I don't even know. I mean, Treehouse is one of the most popular episodes.
Really big shrimp.
Really big shrimp. Some of those later seasons, some of the earlier season 2 episodes, Blues Brothers. Probably the most iconic episode, quite frankly.
My God.
But this this movie was definitely a very solid movie. Not the best, but certainly not the worst, like Little Diva or or Theater Thug or something like that. So now let me reverse this onto you. What would you give this movie?
After rewatching it the other day, I can definitely see that if you like follow more in depth with the story, it's not very realistic.
Yeah.
But definitely like heartwarming. You got a lot of funny moments. So I feel like if it was just some generic Christmas movie without Drake and Josh, it probably would have gotten somewhere between like under a 5 out of 10. But since it's got Drake and Josh on it, I'm definitely gonna say like an 8 out of 10. I personally do think that Go Hollywood is better, but Merry Christmas, Drake and Josh, again, it's a classic movie because it holds a very special place in both of our hearts, especially since I seen it the day it premiered on television. So that alone just makes it more stand out. Like it makes it stand out more to me. And again, like without Drake and Josh, it probably would have just been like another cheesy, generic Nickelodeon movie that no one probably wouldn't have bothered to watch. But I can guarantee that there's probably like like hundreds of thousands, probably like millions of people like watching it the day it premiered, because it was all over the place. Literally like 2 months before
Oh yeah.
it even came out.
It was huge because people thought it was done for good when it came back, for that one run. And then again, I'll just mention the unrealistic part of the jail thing kind of goes back to the alternative universe where different things happen in that universe that would never happen in real life. But that's kind of the fun of the alternative universe. So, Jeremy, thank you so much for joining me. This video will be out a few days before Christmas. Christmas is right around the corner, guys. Celebrate. Be good boys. Don't end up on the naughty list.
And stay
Anything like
social
that.
distancing. Be with family, but stay not too close. Just
not too close. But yeah, thank you, man, for joining me. And guys, go watch Merry Christmas, Drake and Josh. It is a great movie. If you have not seen it before, it is fantastic. Like I said, you can get the DVD for $13 on Amazon, not too expensive. So go pick it up. It's definitely a solid movie, one that you should definitely get for your collection. So, Jeremy, thank you again, and the link description below to both of his channels. So thank you very much.
No problem, man, and thank you for coming out to me about this review.
Of course. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and this has been Childhood DVD Fan and Jeremy. So long, everyone.